So you should have at this point cleaned most of the skin off of the wing. You can see that we've got nice muscle tissue here and here. There is this bit of skin left, and this is typically the hardest to do, so I thought I'd show you what to do. There's actually a bone that runs right under here, and so you're in no danger of cutting any muscle. So what you can do, simply get your scissors right along that bone and cut away, and that skin is just going to come right off, and you will have cleared your wing of all of the skin. And we'll just get this last little bit of skin by cutting the connective tissue, and there you go. This is what you want your wing to look like. So you can now clearly see the muscle tissue that's exposed. Now, one of the things we want to be sure we understand is how the muscles cause the bones to move. And you all know that muscles are attached to bones by... That's right, tendons. Well done, kids. I feel like Mr. Science in that video. The easiest tendon to see is the one that stretches from this muscle here over that second joint to the wing tip. And this is that tendon right here. It's a whitish, clear whitish tissue right there. So that tendon is connecting this muscle to this bone. And what you'll see is when that muscle contracts, it's going to pull on that tendon, which is going to pull on that bone. So watch as I artificially contract this muscle.
Cool.
And you can see that as that muscle contracts, the wing tip extends. As that muscle relaxes and the muscle on the other side pulls, the wing tip then returns to its original position.
It's like the biceps and the triceps.
What's even cooler is you can actually do the biceps and the triceps trick. This is like your biceps right here on top of the large bone right next to the shoulder, and your triceps is like down at the bottom. So if you hold both muscles in place and brace the wing tip or the shoulder against your hand, you can actually make your wing tip wave. Hi there. How are you? So this illustrates the way muscles work in pairs. One muscle contracts, moves the bone in one direction, the other muscle relaxes. That other muscle contracts, pulls on the tendon, pulls the bone, and that straightens back and forth. So there's the working together of bones, muscles, and tendons. And please pardon the interruption. If you're an ELL student, go on the field trip. All right, what we're going to do now is we are going to remove the muscle and look at it a little bit more in depth. And
this will be day 2.
This is the best muscle to look at, really. It's the easiest one to find. And if you just cut along the bottom side, you'll see it's connected to the other muscles by connective tissue. I don't know if you can see that clear tissue right there. But we're just going to be removing that and separating this muscle from the thing. Now, in order to get it off here, we want to cut that tendon. So we're going to slide the scissors underneath the tendon and just snip it. We now have a nice muscle to look at. One of the things you want to look at is how the muscle and the tendon are actually connected. A lot of people think they're just stuck together and sort of tied together. But in fact, in order to increase the strength, the muscle and tendon actually are sort of one piece. You can see here, this line is the tendon that actually grows right out of the muscle. So it's really woven into the muscle. The tendon is kind of an extension of the muscle. The other thing you want to look at is if you can sort of move your head side to side, and I don't know how well the camera can capture this, you can clearly see there's some lines, what are called striations, in this muscle. Remember, this is skeletal muscle, so it is striated, and those are the muscle fibers that are going to latch together to allow this muscle to contract. So you want to take a look at that. Once we've done with that, we're going to go ahead and remove all of the muscles to expose the bones so we can get a chance to look at how the bones are put together and how they're held together by tendons. Ligaments. I always do that. Thank God you're here, Miss Shield.
Yeah, I've been working on that with my students too. It's a difficult concept.
So all I'm doing is running my scissors along the bone to cut the muscle off. And there's not much danger of cutting any ligaments. The hardest part is you actually remember when we studied evolution, we talked about homologous structures. So this chicken wing has a very similar bone arrangement as your arm. You've got one bone in the upper arm and two bones in the middle arm, and then lots of little bones down here in the lower arm, which we won't look at. But the hardest part is getting this muscle out from between these two bones. Easiest way to do that is to simply put your scissors against the bone again and cut down. And it will cut that connective tissue that's holding that muscle onto that bone. You want to do the same thing on the top bone here. This can get a little messy. You don't have to worry about it. We're not going to use these muscles for anything. And then what I do is I sort of push that muscle through, and then I go ahead and cut away.
Nice work, Mr. Welder.
Thank you. Until I've exposed the bone. And again, run your scissors along that bone into the joint.
We have a bleeder.
You might cut a blood vessel or two. That's okay. The chicken's not going to feel it now. I want to remove all of this muscle to expose this joint. This joint is where we're going to find our ligaments. And those ligaments are the things that are going to hold bone to bone. So this looks pretty good. Probably get a little cleaner, but not the end of the world. So now that you've got this done, you want to try and find a ligament. And the ligaments are going to stretch across the joint. They look a lot like tendons. They're that clear whitish tissue, but you'll notice the difference is that they're attaching bone to bone. So this here is a ligament, and if you just sort of twist it, you can actually see that tissue there that's holding those bones together.
Very strong connection.
There's ligaments here. There's going to be a ligament there. That's a ligament. There'll also be ligaments connecting these bones.
And ligaments help the bones stay together at the joint.
If you've ever eaten a chicken wing and never ripped it apart and you hear it cracking, what you hear is the breaking of ligaments. So what we can do, once we've examined the ligaments, is we can go ahead and cut those. And you'll see what happens as I cut them. The bones are going to be able to come apart. Currently, I can't take these bones apart, but as soon as all those ligaments are broken, or cut, I will be able to do that. And there we go. Now what this exposes is the area between the joints. And between the joints you're going to find a soft, oily tissue that's going to cushion the joints called cartilage. So all of this white is cartilage. You'll have to feel that. And you can feel how it's a little softer than the bone. You can feel it's also a little bit oily. It's got to stay lubricated to keep the joints moving. So the cartilage is between the bones, keeping them from rubbing together. The ligaments are connecting the bones, holding them together. What we can now do is go ahead, and the last step here is to look at the inside of a bone, and that would be the bone marrow. Now your teacher will come around with what are called bone shears and most likely cut this larger bone for you to see. But with my scissors here, I can easily take this cartilage off the end of the bone. And you can see...
I think you got me.
And it went flying at Miss Shield. And you can see there's a little bit of blood here, but inside you see this red tissue. That's the bone marrow. If you remember, bone marrow is what is going to produce all the red blood cells in the body, and it is in the center of the bones. So, through this dissection, you should have seen several things. Number one, the arrangement of muscles and how muscles and bones work together to move a joint, the way that muscles and tendons are connected and how muscles pull on tendons which pull on bones. You should have seen the ligaments that are connecting bone to bone. You should have seen the cartilage which cushions the bone, and you should have seen the bone marrow, which is where all the red blood cells are made. Hopefully you have a better sense of how your muscular system works. Make sure you clean up.
Along with the skeletal system, yes.
Along with the skeletal system. And now clean up.
Okay.
Thank you.